So I guess we can get started. Before we get started, make sure to grab your own copy of the YashaHime English translated version of the manga from the Viz website. I will leave a link down below in the description below. This is not sponsored, but I'm just letting you guys know so we can further support the series. Also, in this video, I'll be discussing the second chapter of the first volume, so check out my first chapter discussion or watch the full live stream where I discussed all 3 chapters together. Everything will be linked in the description below. At this point, we know now that Towa was gone for 10 years. When Sota grabbed Moroha and was like, yo, wait a minute, and then she's like, what the hell? Let go of me. It's getting away. And then Papa Sota is like, are you from the feudal era? Have you heard of Kagome and InuYasha? How do you not look at Moroha and be like, yo, that girl looks just like my sister and InuYasha combined. But yeah, Sota's like, are you from the feudal era? Have you heard of Kagome and InuYasha? And she's like, huh? How do you know my mom and dad? And then he freezes, and then he's like, huh, hey mom, grandpa, get over here. And they're like, what is it, Sota? This part had me screaming. This girl is Kagome's daughter. And then I wrote a footnote. I was like, Moroha knows her parents? Question mark? I think in the anime, Mama Higurashi looked at Moroha and was like, she has Kagome's eyes. Is that Kagome's daughter? I kind of like that a lot too. But I think it's like just the urgency of like freaking out, like, oh my god, this is actually her, you know? That's like,
that, like, and like telling everyone, like, hey,
like, yo, like this is her daughter. Like, we haven't seen her in like 15 years, man. InuYasha and Kagome's daughter. And it's like, it cuts to them in the feudal era, and then they're at Kaede's place, and they're like, grandma, are you still alive in there? Grandpa Kaede. I don't know, like, did Kaede always have hippo teeth, or is it just me?
Wait, what?
He has hippo teeth. Basically, Kaede opens the door. She's like, yo, quiet down, Moroha, I'm alive, frick. And she's like, how did it go? And then they show Towa, and they're like, look, Kaede's like freaking out. Is that really you? I'm so happy that you're safe, you know? And she's like, this is Grandma Kaede, she looks after us, right? You know, Kaede's having like this urgency, like, oh my god, like, it's been 10 years, like, I'm actually freaking out, like, I can't believe you're alive. You're safe, you're sound. Moroha basically says, yo, like, introduces Kaede, like, oh, this is Grandma Kaede, she looks after us. In the anime, I think Kaede only took care of Setsuna, and Moroha was freaking, like, on the streets for some reason, living on her own. In the manga, Kaede actually took care of both Setsuna and Moroha, which is really nice. Kaede like makes a lot of food for them to eat now that they're back, and Setsuna is like really sassy right now. She's like, what a waste, such an extravagant meal, and it's not even New Year's. And also Setsuna has a really cute like non-demon slaying outfit, which is like really nice. Because I think in the anime, she mainly wore just her demon slaying outfit. Kaede's like, you know, like, yeah, it's a lot of food, but you guys shouldn't worry about it. Like, we should be celebrating today, basically. Setsuna and Moroha give me Sesshomaru and InuYasha vibes if they grew up together. That's what they are, like, in my opinion. Towa is trying feudal era food for the first time, and basically she notices that it's a bit salty. And Kaede talks about how Kagome didn't really like the food when she first came here either. And then Towa's like, oh, you know my aunt Kagome. And then she's like, of course, she married InuYasha. They lived here for a time. And then she's like, along with your mother, Rin. So at this point, Kaede already be telling information. And then Towa's like, Rin, that's the name of my birth mother? Cause like, Towa's never known, you know? Never known Rin. It's so sad. And then she's like, oh, like, you don't remember. Well, that's to be expected. You were very young when you left us. And then she was like, didn't these two explain anything to you? And then Setsuna's like, I think it's better if you, you know, tell Towa the story. Cause like, it's not like Setsuna and I even remember Towa. And she's like, tell me everything. Grandma and Papa Sota will want to know too. Like, not just about me, but Aunt Kagome. Like, I like that Towa doesn't only care about like herself. Like, I think in the anime she was more like, you know, I don't care about anything, I only care about Setsuna. But in the manga she's like, I want to know like who my parents are, like my backstory, like my grandma Higurashi would want to know, Papa Sota would want to know, and tell me more about like on Kagome because like they all care about Kagome too, right? I wrote here MVP Kaede for telling us information. Oh my god. Anime Kaede is just like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, Kohaku. I know you were working with like Setsuna for like 6 months, but I forgot to tell you she's half demon. As a freaking demon slayer, like, she's half demon? Really? Really? I didn't even know. So basically, she's like, a great dog demon lived in ancient China. He had 2 sons. The eldest son was Sesshomaru. He was a proud, pure-blooded dog demon who would one day grow up to be a father to you and Setsuna. Why am I saying it like this? His younger half-brother was InuYasha. His mother was a human princess. Aww. And he would grow up to be Kagome's husband and Moroha's father. Aww. So Sesshomaru refused to accept that his father had fallen in love with a human. He resented his half-human brother. Again and again, he attacked InuYasha, trying to win back their father's sword. But at every turn, InuYasha and Kagome thwarted him. Their love made them a formidable team! Ah! I would kind of wish Kaede mentioned Moroku and Sango too, because it wasn't just InuKag. They had like a whole team too, you know? I think she's just kind of summarizing the story just to tell, you know, Towa about the main parts, which is like their parents, you know? Finally, Sesshomaru reflected at length upon their mysterious power in himself. And at last, a day came when he too realized that life ought to be lived to the fullest. And then, like his brother and his father, he fell in love with a human. Ha! You freaking weirdo! So after that, their days were peaceful and happy. Time passed like a dream. Rin grew into a beautiful woman. I love this scene! Look how pretty she is! And now, like you know, like how Sesshomaru does like the hand holding thing with her face. Like, I think it's freaking cute. I think that's freaking cute. So this is my favorite part of the freaking. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. I love this part so much. It's so freaking funny. It had me like the way when I was reading it, I was freaking dying. I had to close the book and freaking put my head down and like hold my scream in, because I was reading this at like 3 in the morning. So Kagome's like, hey Kaede, where's Rin today? And then Kaede's like, off with Sesshomaru again. Ooh. Kagome's like, he's a pretty nice brother-in-law after all, isn't he? He's so nice. Sesshomaru's so nice, man. And then InuYasha's like, hey, don't get too chummy with him. And then Kagome's like, sit. And InuYasha's like, what'd you do that for? And she's like, InuYasha, this is my favorite part. I'm freaking fangirling. Like, she said, it's not like I'm jealous of Rin and your brother or anything, but we haven't had much time for romance, haven't we? We're married now, so act like a husband. Oh my god, Kagome! And then InuYasha's like, I always do, I'm always by your side, what else do you want? And then she says, you could take me to a scenic spot and gaze into my eyes with fiery passion and you know, Kagome is like a hopeless romantic. Like she thinks about scenarios in her head, like, oh my god, like one day I can cook for InuYasha and like he'll like my food and stuff like that, you know? So Kagome's like, we're married now, so act like my husband. And he's like, I do, I'm always by your side, what else do you want, right? So InuYasha, I think for him, it's like, just Kagome being by his side is like more than enough for him. I'm not saying like that's not enough for Kagome. I think she's happy just being by InuYasha's side, obviously, especially like after the final act she said. She just wants to be by InuYasha's side and everything. But like, you know, people have like different like love languages and stuff like that. And like, I think Kagome's is like, you know, act of service and like quality time maybe. And this part is the part, literally I put LMFAO. This is my footnotes, guys. Like, literally, I had to put all of my energy of screaming into this freaking sticky note. So, as they're having this conversation about, you know, Kagome wanting to do more romantic stuff with InuYasha, Kaede is there too. She's like literally in the scene. Kaede is like, I'll be heading home. Now that you two are getting closer, you need private time and a place of your own. And she's like, by the way, don't worry. Hardly anyone passes through this way. Oh my god! Just have me cackling. They're like, hey, come back. Nothing's about to happen right this minute. Not right now, but later. So basically it cuts to Rin giving birth to the twins, and basically she's like, oh yeah, like I'm naming them Towa and Setsuna. Based off of this panel, Sesshomaru wasn't present when she was giving birth, and I think it's like a normal thing in feudal Japan. I think I read that somewhere, but yeah. I think Kagome was there when Rin gave birth, and then this one is so freaking cute! Moroha's the older one, and she's already birthed when the twins were birthed by like a few months, I think. It's so cute. She's like, you hear that? You meet your new cousins, Moroha. And InuYasha's like, sure they're cute, but Kagome, Moroha threw up on my robe of the fire wrap. And then Kagome's like, good girl, nice burp. And you know, Sesshomaru just been there, chilling in the sky from like watching with his freaking binoculars. And basically, Jokin's translating Sesshomaru's feelings. We'll be on our way now. And then he's like, we'll send gifts later. Jokin's like, oh, the master is pleased, very pleased. So basically, this is how Towa finds out she's half demon. A demon? So I'm only half human? The difference between, again, the manga and the anime, we got the whole birth part and everything, backstory from the get-go. Like literally, we're not even halfway through the volume and we're already there. From what we know here so far, Sesshomaru never took them after Rin gave birth. Which is like so nice because like, that was so brutal. Like for the anime to do.
Yeah.
Just like for Rin to be separated for her kids and like she never held them for 4. I feel like that the anime kind of like gave them like, let's see like the hardest thing we can do for them possible. Towa just finds out she is half demon. She's like, bruh, I'm half demon only. We're not full demon. And then she's like saying like how she did have like suspicions because she did know about like InuYasha and how InuYasha was half demon and everything. But she wasn't like exactly sure what she was. I was never exactly normal, but still, it's a lot to take in. So Setsuna's like, I can guess what you're thinking. You're surprised to learn that Moroha and I have demon blood, and Towa's like, yeah, oh my god, they're like half demon too. And basically Moroha's saying like she's quarter demon, stuff like that. And they explain that they got bullied by older kids when they're younger. The older kids would throw rocks at them and they would even like fight them back. So basically they're saying with their powers they're like free to live as they wish in the feudal era because like no one really messes with them because they're so strong. In our time, demons are a bigger danger than war or disease. People pay us to run them out of villages. It's a fun way to make a living. So basically they're also saying like because they learned how to like defend themselves and fight and stuff like that, they started to take that strength to their advantage and like use it to make money. Because obviously Kaede's not rich either. Whatever had happened, Sesshomaru probably did not leave them money. So it's nice to know that you know, Moroha and Setsuna also helped Kaede out. And they also reference Shippo here. Setsuna is saying how she does like demons though, and Kaede is like the small harmless ones who get along with humans aren't bad, aka Shippo. And then Setsuna's like, that's true, but that's not what I meant. She said, even if a demon is ghastly and filled of murderous rage, when I encounter it, I feel a connection. She just like has like this like bloodlust or like some connection like with demons in general. Sesshomaru's blood in their veins. Towa is like, yo, I can relate. Like when I fought the Mr. Centipede and whenever like I encounter ghosts and stuff like that in the modern era, like I feel that connection as well. So yeah, she's like, yeah, I know that feeling, isn't it weird? And then they're like, that is the blood of your father running through your veins, the blood of kings. And then they're like, who said that? And it's Miyoga. So Miyoga appears already. Then he's like, my lord had the same instincts. Demons are your natural allies. If they refuse to aid you, you must vanquish them. It's just like they're like natural instincts, I guess you could say. And like what I like about it so far as well is like a lot of like questions are already answered, right? Like questions that, you know, like the audience already knows that like shouldn't be really hidden. Because it's like, it'll just be like dragging on, like if it just takes so long for the characters to find out answers that we already know, right? That's what they did really well with this, is to kind of just like get that away from the get-go, so like we can like have more questions of like other stuff that we actually don't know about from the original series and stuff like that. So Kaede finally tells what the frick happened, why like they were taken away and stuff like that. I'm like so happy that they're like saying that in the beginning there's genuinely no reason for us not to know, you know? So basically, Kaede finally tells what the frick happened. This is like really random, but like it's really funny how InuYasha knocks on Kaede's door because it literally parallels how Moroha did it earlier in the story. Like, Grandma Kaede, are you still alive? And she's like, shut up, I'm alive. What is it, InuYasha? InuYasha arrives at Kaede's hut with a random man, and like a lot of us are like, that's probably Riku, you know? Basically he's like, sorry to wake you, but this is urgent, we have to go away for a while. And then Kaede's like, away? But what about Kagome and Moroha? And then InuYasha's like, yeah, they're coming too. They're coming too! They're like along with Rin and the twins. So there's like this, yeah, so Rin and the twins are coming too! They're in this carriage in the sky. It kind of reminds me of the episode of the Unmother in the original InuYasha series as well, which is really cool. So there's a carriage in the sky, and Rin and Kagome are in the carriage with the kids, and like, goodbye, Granny! And then Kaede's like, what's happening? And then Kagome's like, we don't have time to talk, sorry. InuYasha's like, it's all I can tell you, please look after our place. We shouldn't be away for more than a month. So basically they were only supposed to be gone for a month. And then the mysterious man, aka probably Riku, is like, we must depart now. At least in this part, they explain, you know, why Kaede doesn't know the full story, but at least Kaede can explain what she saw, you know, what she experienced, because they had to leave now, you know? In the anime, we kind of just had to assume, you know, it was probably urgent, you know, like, I'm glad that they kind of just like mentioned it. We don't really have to like question all this stuff. Riku boy is like, yo, we gotta leave. And then Kaede's like, who's that, man? Like, he's not even human. And then InuYasha's like, it's alright, he knew my father. The thing with Riku as well, in the anime, it was like, Riku was kind of like a servant to Kirinmiru. When he was like created, I guess, he was kind of like, leeda-leeda-dee. Don't really know much, but I think it's cool that InuYasha's like, he knew my father, like he was there since the beginning, if that makes sense. He was there long ago and he actually had like an impact. There's like a lot more to his character that they're trying to do with this, and I really like it. So basically InuYasha's saying, I can't really tell you more because it's gonna endanger the village. And again, like what we said in the anime, we kind of just had to assume, oh, you know, they probably didn't say anything to protect them, you know? But I'm glad that, like, he kind of explains it with communication. Yo, like, we're only gonna be gone for a month. Can't tell you much just to protect you, but we're just letting you know we're gonna be gone for a month. Like, the less you know, the safer you'll be, basically. So yeah, and then he even says, tell Sango and Moroku will be back soon. So at least he thought about them, because in the anime, like, they were like MIA, like, man didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything. But like, at least he's like, yo, tell Moroku and Sango, like, we don't have time right now, but like, tell them we'll be back soon. Because it was only supposed to be a month. I feel like in Feel Era times, like, that month will just go by. And then Kaede's like, wait, InuYasha, explain, like, please, like, let me know. And then like, that's the last I saw of them. Something must have gone terribly wrong. It's been 3 years since they left and they haven't returned. So like, this is like a time skip in the memory of how Kaede's telling. So it's 3 years after InuYasha, the kids, and Kagome and Rin left. So at that point, the kids were like straight up babies. Like, they were like newborn babies at that point when they left for quote unquote a month. But now that it's been 3 years, this part had me like, I wanted to cry. Like, I felt so bad for Kaede. So let me read this to you. Knowing them, whatever is keeping them away must be serious. Even if they're enduring hard times, I'm sure they're still alive. I can feel it in my bones. What shall I do now? Kikyo, my sister. Even though it's kind of like weird because like, she knew InuYasha when like she was a child. Like, I think, you know, at that point she's been with them. Like, she's the older one in this situation. She sees like Kagome and InuYasha as like her own like kids, you know? And like, they were gone from her, and she's like asking Kikyo, like, yo, like, what should I do? Like, they've been gone for 3 years. They said that they would be gone for a month. And she's like, I've been through many trials in my life. I don't have the strength to face another ordeal. After those few blessed years of happiness, I'm all alone again.
Oh, Kaede.
I know, Kaede, baby. I was so sad. I was like, I mean, at least I'm glad that they explored more of like her internal thoughts, you know, because like because I remember like when YashaHime came out, we're all like, oh my god, like she's so old, man, like how's she alive? Like this girl been through so much. In the anime, I feel like she was just kind of there for like quote-unquote information, even though she wasn't really there for information. I don't know, but I'm glad that they kind of explored her character more and being like, you know, like she feels sad that like InuYasha and Kagome are gone and the kids are gone, you know, like the people that she lived with for like a couple of years, like she was like so happy to live with them, but now she's just like left in the dark, not knowing what happened to them. She said
So many people just like came and went in her life.
yeah, a lot
That's
of
so
people
sad.
came and went, and she's like, yo, I'm so old now, like I can't, I don't know if I can go through this again. She's like, I've been through many trials in my life. I don't have the strength to face another ordeal. After those few blessed years of happiness, I'm all alone again. And then she says, perhaps I should join you, big sister.
Oh my
Yeah! I was like,
that hit my heart.
I was
No.
literally, my foot, I was screaming internally screaming. I was like, no! My foot, no. Yeah,
Oh my
it's so
God, that
freaking
makes me so
sad.
sad.
It's
Like,
so
I'm
sad.
actually tearing up a bit.
And then an apparition appears, and then it's like, Kaede.
I didn't say it like that.
Cause it's like a scary apparition. And then like Kaede's like, Kikyo? And it's like, and then she's like,
Kikyo?
yeah, she's like, it's not her though. It looks and sounds the same, but the presence is not like a ghost or a
Kikyo?
demon. It's like something else. Yeah, it's Kikyo basically. I am the tree of ages. Be strong of heart. Your loved ones shall return to you. You must have faith. And I think it's really cute that, you know, like you kind of see Kaede's perspective, because like I guess like she doesn't really say anything. She's like kind of there usually, but I think it's like really sweet that they kind of explored her, like what she thinks of Inukag, Rin, and the girls, you know, like what she thinks of them, and she thinks of them as family, and this confirms it, and it's like ugh. So she's like don't give up, you know, like even though Kaede's like straight up gonna like freaking, you know, I'm over this shit, I'm over everyone leaving me, but she's like, yo, like don't give up, the people you love will return, just have faith. And then she's saying like a little prophecy saying, first 2 children, raise them well. And then Kaede's like 2, but there are 3 girls. Kikyo is like, after 10 years, return to this place. Here, the 3 princesses will reunite, and they shall heal the rift in time and find their parents. So have hope, Kaede. Your elder sister wishes it so. And I liked how they revealed Kikyo's thing here at the end. I think that was like, I could see in my head, like, you know, like if they ever adapted it into an anime, I could see like the scenes, the music, I could see it in my head, and it just looks so beautiful. Kikyo disappears, and basically Miyoga explains that the Tree of Ages basically has been alive since before the time of humans and demons, and since the days of God, and basically that the tree inhabits trees, like many trees, more than 1,000 years old. So it moves between the tree's past and future to heal rifts in time and protects the universe. So basically the Tree of Ages is basically just like a police officer of like time. So basically they're saying, Miyogo's saying how it's like kind of weird that it takes the form of like Kikyo. Kaede is like, oh, it was InuYasha's tree, and then she said, my sister's arrow suffused with her power, and it was lodged into the tree. Her love for us must have flowed into the Tree of Ages. Towa's like, oh, who's Kikyo? And then Moroha's like, grandma's big sister, a priestess who used to date my dad before he met my mom. Funny, this had me freaking dying. Moroha says she pinned him to a tree with her arrow before he died. Later, she was revived and forced to fight him. A lot of stuff happened, but in the end, she died peacefully in my dad's arms. Towa's like, his ex did that? That's a bad breakup. That's so tragic. Also, I'm gonna need the deets on the stuff that happened, like in between, you know?
God.
I'm like, girlie, just watch the freaking InuYasha show, girl. Again, in the anime, I don't think they even like really did a big background on Kikyo. Like, when they were like traveling back through the tree and they encountered Kikyo, they're like, who are you? And they're like, how do you know our names? None of them really got a background on Kikyo at all. They're kind of just like, okay, well, this is the Tree of Ages, right? They don't even know who she is. But I think it's also interesting that the apparition encountered Kaede first. Tell her like, you know, this is like the first part of the prophecy, man. Setsuna is saying, so the prophecy came true because Towa did return 10 years later, just as the tree predicted. But it's safe to assume the tree is on our side, and it's up to the three of us to save our parents. So at this point, we already have a mission, right? I feel like in the anime, it was so unclear what the mission was, because in the beginning, like the first I guess half of the first season, it was focused on getting Setsuna's memories back, and then like they would touch on like the parents a little bit, and like but they also didn't really care about the parents, so it was like, yeah, so it's like we didn't really know what the freaking goal was. And then like they were trying to find Setsuna's memories, but then they got sidetracked a lot and stuff like that, and I was like, what the heck. But at this point they're already like, okay, so our mission is, it's up to the three of us to save our parents, right? That's the mission. At this point, a demon is attacking the village. Like they just like sense something approaching, and then they're like, oh my god, it's a demon coming. And they're like, yo, Towa, stay here. You're kind of just gonna like, you know, kind of weak right now. Gotta do a little training first. Moroha and Setsuna are gonna like handle it. So basically, Moroha and Setsuna like left Kaede's place to find the demons, and basically they have like a little small talk. They're like, basically Setsuna's being really grouchy and stuff like that. And then Moroha's like, oh, are you being grouchy because? And then Setsuna's like, don't say it. And then Setsuna says, it's good to have my sister back. And she's like, logically, I know that, but, you know, because of my curse, I'm not capable of joy. So basically, Setsuna's unable to have like hope dreams. They're just drawn out of her and carried off away. Only negative emotions remain in her heart. In the anime, her curse was she was not able to have dreams and sleep. But then in this, she's just like not capable of having of being happy. She can't be happy. Setsuna apologized. She says, since I was cursed, I've only been able to feel anger towards you, Moroha. I'm sorry. And then Moroha's like, I'm used to it. Even before the curse, you were always mad at me all the time and stuff like that. I'm like, lol. And then Moroha like changes the subject. She's like, yo, like, did you notice I came through the time tree tunnel a little like later than you? And she said, because I spent a little bit of time on the other side. And then she has like the little like, you know, like the reunion with like the Higurashis. Grandma Higurashi goes to Moroha and like hugs her and stuff like that, and is like, is it true you're Kagome InuYasha's daughter? And she's like, what's your name? And she's like, it's Moroha. And then she's like, it's Moroha, I'm so happy to meet you, Moroha. And she's like, whoa, like this is like weird, you know? So like this is like the reunion like we wanted, you know, like her freaking out like, oh my god, I've never this is my first time meeting you. Like grandma's like, oh, you're so big and strong and stuff like that. And then Moroha's like, oh, she smells familiar, this scent, it brings happy memories, because like I guess she smells like Kagome. And like she has like a little flashback of her baby Moroha and like mom Kagome and stuff like that. Oh my god, you know, the moment of freaking truth. Moroha's like, oh, is this where my mom grew up? Like, is she here? Like, is my mom here? Grandma Higurashi's like, Kagome's not with you?
Oh no!
Moroha's like, no, my parents have been away so long, I don't remember them. So then my heart breaks into a million pieces! I was like, the girls spent some time with their mother and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, at least they spent a little bit of time. But then Moroha showed up like, yo, I can't remember them. So it's like, my heart cracks into a billion pieces again. This is like the freaking anime again, but it's like at least it's a little bit better. It's a better story. It's better written. And then Grandma Higurashi like freaks freaking out. She's just like, what? She's like, what do you mean? Tell me more, like, what's become of Kagome? Like, where is she? And then Sota's like, please mother, we have to think of Towa now. And then the mother's like, of course, so, like, is Towa's okay? And then Moroha's like, I don't think that Centipede could take her. So basically she's saying like she should go now because like the Tree of Ages is basically waiting for her to pass through. And then Sota's like, the Tree of Ages? You mean our shrine's sacred tree? And then it flashes to the Tree of Ages, the freaking Kikyo pops up and she's like, yo, let's get going, girly. I got a schedule. Grandpa Higurashi's like, a miracle, it's the spirit of the tree. Portal's forming a portal, and he's like, does that passageway lead to InuYasha Kagome? And like he's like inching towards the portal to go through. As he's like reaching for the portal, Mei and Moe stop Sota to like, wait, honey, like they're like, dad. And then like it shows like Sota like, you know, like doing like the fist, like as he was reaching, he's like, no, I can't go, you know, I'm not that reckless kid from back then, basically. He's like, Moroha, is it? Please go and help Towa, protect her and return with everyone, you, Towa, and my sister.
Because he really wants wants to see her again.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
he never had a proper goodbye.
he never had a proper goodbye, right? So this is like where he's like, you know, he's like, this is my chance. But then he realized, like, you know, like, I can't, like, I have responsibilities here. I have a family now, like. So then he like entrusts the mission, like the side mission, side quest to Moroha, like, come back, like, you, Towa, and my sister, come back here, like, when you're done, you know. Moroha's like, leave it to me, see ya. And then he's like, before you leave, just 5 more minutes, let me give you some supplies. Mom, make sure she doesn't take off, like, they take off yet. And then they're basically like making like the little, like, getting her like the supplies and stuff like that.
So
and it's really funny because like you can see there's like a little like cute Kikyo here. She's like getting impatient that she's taking so long. See, like there's so much more depth to like Kaede's character to Sota's character, you know? Like they're like how they feel, right? And I think that's
like they're
they did
actual
so well.
characters with feeling
Yeah, you know, like
that express their
and like
emotions.
you know, and like Kaede's trauma of being left, and then Sota's trauma of being left as well, right? So it's like all that. And then Moroha's like, I think Towa, you know, like they're a nice family. She grew up with good people. That makes sense. And then Setsuna's like, I see. So she hasn't had to struggle. And then Moroha's like, nope. The thing is, I don't really agree with that because obviously Towa did struggle. Like she never fit in anywhere, like at school and stuff like that. And I know it's like
different.
I know it's like it's hard. Like their struggles are both very different. They were both, all three of them were bullied and stuff like that. Like had to like go through their struggles of like being different. I think the only difference is like Towa, like, you know, grew up not like rich or anything, but like with whatever she needed. Like she got whatever she needed, like she needed basically to live. But I don't really agree with how they say she hasn't had to struggle because that's definitely not true. Towa did definitely did
However,
struggle.
it does make sense for her to feel that way because she won't be able to understand Towa at all.
Yeah, both of them. Moroha and Setsuna like just fight the freaking possessed corpses with the crow demon. And then basically we cut to Towa and Kaede talking. Towa's like, yo, I'm just gonna get in the way, right? And then Kaede's like, yo, like don't take it personally because it's like Setsuna means well. She's just like looking out for you because, you know, like you're a modern era girl, you're not really experienced here. This is your first like hour here. We're already getting attacked. So I was supposed to grow up with them. So how did I wind up like in the modern era, right? So there's like more backstory that we freaking deserved. Kaede explains, you know how like in the prophecy that Kikyo said, soon like you have to take care of the 2 kids. Setsuna and Moroha like appeared in like a broken carriage. Like the carriage that they like flew away in, it like fell from the sky. It was like on fire, like and stuff like that. Okay, not on fire, but like it was like smoking and shit.
I'm like,
It's not on fire, but it was on fire, if that makes sense. It was on fire. Basically, as the Tree of Ages predicted, a few days later, Setsuna and Moroha returned to me, and then they found the carriage, and then the girls laid inside. So Moroha and Setsuna laid inside. 3 years old at this point, right? They're like knocked out inside of the carriage. The carriage was badly damaged and streaked with burn marks. It appears as if they had escaped a fierce battle. Could it be that demons like humans are warring amongst themselves? Kaede just kind of theorized like, oh, it looks like they like escaped, right? Like a battle, you know, because like their carriage was like freaking burnt. So Moroku and Sango appear. So that is actually the end of the second chapter. If you guys would like to view the first chapter and or the full live stream, the link will be in the description below for chapter 3. I'll have chapter 3 up edited soon, so keep your post notifications on. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.